Good evening, I'm back. My name is Jack Remington. I am the host of Quintessence Productions LLC. Wild Card Weekend. This is game 3, video 3 of the Wild Card Weekend. And we got some doozy games for you. I want to point off by saying that this is the first time I've ever remembered that both conference games were played on the same day. Saturday, both AFC teams were playing, and Sunday, 2 NFC teams were playing. So that's okay, we don't really care, do we? I just want to make that distinction. When I was a younger man, in the old days, they would rotate hosting the games. The only one they had to worry about was where the wild card team was going to play. Road teams can do very well in the wild card matchup weekend. This wild card season, I think, is a little different. I think the home teams are going to flourish. I do got a road team I think is going to win, and we'll get to that in the next video. This video is game 3. It is the number 6 seed Minnesota Vikings. They won 10 games, lost 6. And they're at the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints won 13 games and they're playing on a wild card weekend. It's only the third time in NFL history that a 13-win team has to play on a wild card weekend. And the Saints are the division winner. And it's a shame that in the NFC West, that Seattle's a wild card team. They won as many games as they won because the 49ers beat them and won the top seed. So one of them's got to travel, and it's Seattle. And it's a shame the team to win all those games of play that season that they've had. That's the way that's the breaks. That's the way it goes. So let's talk about this game here. The line opened it flat opened Saints -8 right away, and there was 50-50 kind of split action for a while. So money's come in on the Vikings, and now the line's now 7.5. So depending on which offshore you want to look at, you can see 7s, 7.5, and a couple of 8s. But most of the lines it's -7.5. They played a couple years ago in a fantastic division matchup, and the Vikings jumped out to a big lead. And here comes the Saints coming marching back in to take the lead on the Vikings at Minnesota late. Less than a minute left. The Saints guy falls down, and Minnesota guy takes the ball and is all the way for the end zone to seal the ice that game. The Saints remember that. That was 2 years ago. Last year, the Saints played in the game, in the NFC Championship game at home against the Los Angeles Rams. And there was that non-call. The guy completely mugged the Saints receiver and couldn't get a pass interference call, so the Saints set up for a field goal. There's been a lot of talk about that. I still get every now and then, people still try to pick argument with me on YouTube. How can you say that the Rams were the rightful winner? Well, you know that even if the Saints would have got that call, that doesn't mean they were going to win the game or even make the field goal at that point. They could have missed the field goal from that spot. And if the Saints were really the best team that day, they would have found a way to win that game. Let's settle that once and for all. But when we're talking to a bunch of players in the Saints locker room, they draw a quarter me, figuratively, maybe literally. They don't feel that way, and that's okay. They're not supposed to feel that way. They have one goal in mind: win the Super Bowl. And the Saints have that Super Bowl look. They have that Super Bowl team. Now, in the other video I talked about, I was comparing the Miami Dolphins' big upset of the New England Patriots. So I was using a game with the Saints, the 7-1 New Orleans Saints. This is London. This is my daughter's dog. Come here. This is London. This is my daughter's dog. He's a miniature pincher terrier mix. 15-pound terror train. He'll bite you, right? But, no, I shouldn't say. I should only say good things about you, right? So anyway, and I'm trying to tell people to calm down about putting the fork in the New England Patriots. I mean, it's a division rival. Brian Flores, the coach of the Dolphins, worked for Bill Belichick for 5-6 years, whatever it is. I think he's a good coach. I think Miami's got a decent team. And I used the Saints, 7-1 New Orleans Saints, hosting the then dead in the water, put a fork in the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to fire Quinn. Arthur Blank's mad. The team's won one game. They're looking terrible. But that was their Super Bowl, and they beat the Saints at New Orleans and held them to 3 field goals. I mean, the game wasn't as close as the score indicated. They mopped up the floor with the mighty New Orleans Saints. Now, what if I told you that just the week before that, the head coach, Sean Payton, who I think is a very, very good coach, by the way, he's one of the few coaches that are playing over 700 ball, and he had 3 straight 7-9 seasons that hold that team together. Any other coach, the team would have fell apart, and it'd be what they call the coach's dumpster or the coach's graveyard. It's kind of like with Cleveland and Washington, teams like that, what they are right now, Detroit, coaches' graveyards. But not so much the New Orleans Saints. For decades, the Saints was a coach's graveyard. But when Sean Payton got there, he turned it around. I digress. I take that back. When Jim Mora got there for a while, he got him to a wild card team, but they couldn't get past the 49ers. Then he went to the Colts, and then the Saints went back downhill. Jim Haslett and a couple other guys came in and did okay, but They were 7-9, 8, 6-8 teams. But when Sean Payton got the job, they really turned it around. And Sean Payton is a very good coach. What if I told you that Sean Payton had this engagement party and all the players got to go to it, and they had 3 days of practice waived? They won one game. We're not really worried. It'll be okay. Well, guess what? It wasn't okay. They got their heads handed to them. So they had to play a couple weeks later, and the Falcons put up a good fight. They lost by 8, but they were winning that game too the first half, weren't they? Sean Payton has shown extreme patience, and in some ways, he's more of a player's coach than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is a manager's coach. I mean, it's his way or the highway. Bill Belichick is a Johnny Carson late night Tonight Show. I mean, you know, Johnny Carson was the boss. I mean, that band was going a little attitude. He'd shut it down. You know, Jay Leno, he let the band push him around a little bit. No, Johnny Carson was the man. I'm telling you, Bill Belichick's the man. Okay, John Wooden of the UCLA men's basketball, he was the man. In a lot of ways, Sean Payton is actually better for personnel. Okay, but X's and O's, nobody touched Bill Belichick. But Sean Payton is a good number 2. Sean Payton is a very good coach. I can't say enough good things about the man, and I wish him happiness in this venture of matrimony. That's a game in itself. I should do a whole series about marriages on that. Anyway, sorry about that. I apologize. Let's talk about the football game. Some money, it's 60-40 Minnesota. That's because it's a big number. And people were thinking about that game 2 years ago where it was close and it was tight. And Minnesota jumped on them like 17-0 in the first quarter. And the Saints had no answer. Well, at halftime, they made the adjustments and they found the answers. And they took the lead on them late. I mean, I thought we had the Saints at the points. So we still won our game because Kirk Cousins is a statuesque type quarterback. He's not that good mobile on his feet, and he's not that fast of a thinker on his feet, and he throws picks. All quarterbacks go throw picks in the NFL because these teams are very, very good. I mean, those defensive people, people talk smack about how bad they are. They're the best of the best, and they're going to get their licks in. They're very good players on all teams, and I just think that Kirk Cousins, when he gets rattled, he's an interception machine like Jameis Winston. I think the Saints are going to demolish them, and I got my score up here: 41, Saints 41, Vikings 13. And they keep pushing that over up to. I'm not very good at the over-unders, but for those of you who like over-unders, this is a good chance for you to go over. I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings just for a minute. I know Mike Zimmer is a very good coach. I liked him when he was defensive assistant under Marvin Lewis in the Cincinnati years. A formidable defense for 7 years. They made the playoffs. They never won a game, but they got there. They should have won 2 of them. Devontae Burfict cost them the Pittsburgh game, and I forgot the other one now. But there's 2 of the games that they should have won. Zimmer gets a chance at the Vikings, and I'm gonna say a season and a half stretch there. Minnesota Vikings had the best front 4 and the best 3. They had the best front 7 in football for like 21 games in a row. I mean, they were setting records with their pressures and everything. I mean, they had a formidable team. Then when it was closing, not getting quite as many sacks, not quite getting the batted balls from the linemen, the things that I look at. I'm an old school guy. I like beasts on the defensive line. I like a team knowing that I have a good chance of getting 5, 6, 7, 10 sacks a game. The team that out-sacks the other team usually wins the game. Go back all you want, and I found a game where Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times, and Green Bay only got 1 or 2, and they still won. You're going to find that. The majority of the time, I'm going to give you a number. I'm going to say 80% of the time, the team gets 5 sacks, and the team doesn't match that the other team lost. I'm going to say 80% or maybe higher, okay? The team that puts the pressure on the other team usually wins the game. Look at the Super Bowl between the Giants and Patriots when I lost all that money. Okay, they sacked Tom Brady 5 times, 2 batted balls, 10 pressures, 19 plays for negative yards. Okay, how many times did New England's Seymour and the other guys sack Eli Manning? 0. They did get a couple batted balls and a couple pressures. A lot like Tom Coughlin and his Giants, the G-men, they stuck it to him. They moved Tom Brady off the spot. They won that game. They shouldn't have won, but they did. The best team always wins. I'm gonna put a graphic up here, big yellow letters. The best team always wins. I don't care about bad calls. I don't care about fumbles. I don't care about interceptions. I don't care about kickoff returns, punt returns, fumble recoveries, and I don't care about all that. I don't care. The best team always wins. And what we have here today, we have the New Orleans Saints. They're the best team, and they're going to win. And I just think that the Vikings, I think the Vikings window is closing. I think the Saints got a constant window like New England. That's my pick. Hope you agree with it. Give me some comments. Give me the thumbs up. And enjoy the games. Always a great day to be an American. And we'll see you for the next video. Thank you.